Hey, you guys. Welcome. We are going to be addressing how we persevere through the bullshit because it's just, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. Hi, my name is Latanya. I am host of Infused Queen Tea Podcast, and we are rolling with Latanya vibes. Y'all, we are here. We are back, and we're going to do our victory lap because we made it to episode 8. What? Did y'all think I was going to make it to episode 8? Did y'all think I was? Because I have some doubts, but we did it. We did it. Um, y'all, I'm taking a moment. First, I'm going to let y'all know I had already recorded like 9 minutes of a podcast. 9 minutes of a podcast. And I know this is literally the season where you're going to be tested in everything that you consider to be limitations and restrictions. And sometimes I like to look at mothering as sometimes a restrictive or a limited thing. But really, I'm learning that I'm in the phase to learn to evolve and grow in those moments. Like today, I decided that it was very, very important to me to show up for myself and record this episode 8, get it uploaded, get it ready for it to be posted and dropped tomorrow on time. And that will be something that, even in the chaos of life around me, right, I'm actually doing. And one day I'm going to be able to look back at this episode and I'm going to be like, damn, girl, look at you showing up for yourself back then. They ain't really fuck with you way back then, but how about now? You ain't really fuck with yourself back then, but how about now? Because you up right now and you trust right now. Hey, that's a healing girl anthem right there. But no, so blunt's almost already gone. So I'm gonna call this is the intentional strand. Of course, put that shit on. Went to Stratera Wellness. This is melancholy. It's a hybrid strand. It's my favorite balance. Like I tell y'all, I love hybrids because they kind of give me both effects of what is it? Sorry, sativa and indica vibes. But it's like the perfect medium, I guess I'm trying to say. Let me get comfortable so we can get into it. Today's episode, we are going to call Are You a Viewer or Are You a Doer? Okay. And this came about, and I'm going to share this story because I feel like it's very insightful, and hopefully, what I went through could be a piece of knowledge for someone else, so that maybe when they're going through something similar, they're like, oh, hold on, she already showed me how to get through this shit. I'm gonna avoid this. I'm gonna do this better. Just kind of set yourself up, because I feel like for the first time, I'm learning a lot for the first time. Like, I thought I knew a lot, but I realized the season I'm in now is new and I don't know what to do. And this can be scary. It can be a little scary, but I think that I do need to trust myself and love myself enough to know that I genuinely have been putting all the seeds down and everything is working in my favor. Even when I feel like it's not, it's always working in my favor. So hit splint 2 more times and we're going to put that out and we're going to get into the conversation at hand. One for the productive days, one for the moments of peace. All right. So yesterday, let's get into it. Yesterday, I came in. I had a very productive day. I made sure I held myself accountable and showed up for the things I needed to do. Meaning, I was handling tasks that I did not want to do. Tasks that I was like, okay, you just been putting it off. You just, like you can get it done, so you're just procrastinating on. And then things that it's like, no, you kind of need to start creating new goals and targets because you keep revisiting the ones that you already can run laps around. Let's stop that. Let's stop. Okay. So yesterday I'm in my normal habits. I do everything I need to do early in the morning. So by 12 o'clock, 11, I can have the rest of my day to just kick back, vibe, do what I need to do until this new season comes about in the next few weeks for me. And through that, I normally come home, roll that blunt, get my favorite podcast going, and I got everybody on the schedule, right? I got everybody on the schedule. And quickly, let me let you know, if you are not an audio podcast person and you love to read, you love like to basically get the gist of the story and the whole concept from just reading, check out my Patreon. It's Infused Queen Tea Podcast. I literally do a lot of my episodes based off of blog posts I wrote. So a lot of times I kind of cover everything that I wrote in the post. Just a little FYI. Just a little FYI. And it's free. You don't even have to be a member on there for you to be able to access the podcast blog post. So check it out. But getting back to it. So I literally have my favorite podcast down on a schedule. To where even when it kind of falls into a schedule of when I need my uplifting, those podcasts are the ones that kind of just, ooh, ah, they give me the elevation I need to get through the week. And yesterday, it was my favorite podcast. I'm gonna let them do them. But yesterday I decided to tune into a female podcast, and I follow this woman faithfully, like genuinely follow her journey. I'm excited for her. Like I go through the whole her phases. I'm going through it with her. Like I feel like everyone in the community, all her supporters, just like anybody's any content creator, you have your family, you have your community, and they just going through the motions with you. They're kind of watching the whole entire mission transpire with you, and that's kind of like a beautiful thing too. And it can be a motivating thing for the people in the community, because it's like when you see people actually going for what they want and they're being authentic and they're showing up and saying like, hey, this is actually where I'm at. I know um, by society standards or how things are portrayed on social media, it seems like it goes very easy or it just comes like that. But no, actually, I have to do the groundwork. And this is what I've been doing in the groundwork. And so that's what I genuinely love about the podcast that I follow. I know the person, or I don't know them personally, but I enjoy the person. So I'm enjoying the journey with them. And this like podcast or whatever they're doing is a part of that at that moment. So boom, I come in, wrote a blank, got the podcast ready, and I'm set up ready to watch it. But for whatever reason, it has something in my spirit that felt like I was not done doing what I needed to do. Mind you, I told you I took care of all the reality tasks, like everything I could see tangible that I needed to take care of, I took care of. But at that moment, I realized I really wasn't taking care of myself. Like, yeah, you taking care of yourself with the meditation and the blunt breath work, right? But you just mindlessly tuning out when there's so many things that you really want to attain right now is crazy. And these podcast episodes, baby, they gonna be there. It's YouTube until that, something happened there. But like, even then, you can tune in at any time. It does not have to be when that joint drops, okay? So I'm sitting there and I'm trying to watch the episode, and I'm just kind of watching the beginning part. She's showing all the changes that she's going through too. And I'm like, okay, everybody, like I could realize, and this is the reason I started my own podcast. I kind of wanted to start sharing from the collective experience what we're going through just from our own perspectives, because I feel like a lot of us are going through similar trials, similar changes, similar phases. And knowing that you're not alone in it is very necessary, which is why I tune into the podcast I do, because I realized the podcasts I chose were podcasts that kind of the place I was seeking to be a long time ago. Because I've been watching these people for like 2-3 years now. So it's like back then it made so much sense to be doing what I was doing, because I didn't have the tools to believe in myself. I didn't have the knowledge that I know. I didn't have the resources that I had back then. So it made sense for me to do what I was doing, but that don't serve me right now. And so as I'm sitting here listening to this podcast, and as she's speaking life, I cannot hear her because my loud ass inner self, and I like to call it really what it is, God, was like, no, no, no. You keep asking for my advice, and I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to give it to you. And that's exactly what had happened. As I'm watching, I'm like comparing myself, not in a bad way, not in a like, oh, you ain't there yet, but more in the like, oh shit, okay, so we going through the same things. Okay, girl, stop acting like it's just you. Stop acting like God or the world is punishing you. No, these are just things that are constantly going through life, And I think that when you do stay in isolation a lot, and I think I've always been very isolated from anybody, like a part, especially in the community. I'm gonna give y'all a piece of me, but I gotta see what's up before I give you all of me. Okay? If I smell something, oh no, it's my spirit. I can't. She be doing what she wants sometimes. I be like, okay, she intervened. This is not it. This is not it. This is not it. But back to story at hand. I basically just started hearing myself so loud and clear. It was God, but I heard it in my own voice because I actually have been trying to trust myself. So I was like, perfect, God, give it to me in the voice that I truly can understand, my own. And I heard, are you a viewer or are you a doer? And I stopped for a second. I said, hold on. I literally had put my baby on pause. I said, baby girl, I'm going to be back. Pause. And baby girl, that just tells y'all what podcast I was watching. I said, hold on. I heard something. And I know you already pre-recorded this and I could come back and I am. But let me get my journal out and really see this through. Like, let me just kind of allow my thoughts to roam on page. And when I did, I created the blog post that I was referencing earlier. Are you a viewer or a doer? Because in that moment, I realized that I'm sitting here hyping this girl's story up, hyping this girl's journey up. I know all those things that she has going on because, of course, she shares it in her content. But I'm just so invested in the things that she has going on and all these other people because I follow more than one pod, right? I am literally podcasting right now. So why the fuck was I sitting there watching other people's podcasts when I could have been just recording episodes for my own? I could say it to myself. Now, if y'all said it to me, I'm aside. Because let me tell you about yourself. That's real. But I had to really God check me and I checked myself. Right now, it's Tuesday. You literally can be recording the podcast or you can at least be creating a concept around what you want the next episode to be. And you have so many other things that you could be doing. You have the retreats, which stay tuned. I have a channel on IG called Minding Our Mental, and I created that space to kind of just create a nice little community of support through mental health. And each week we channel different phases of mental health. It might be different topics or discussions. It might be things I'm personally going through that I just kind of throw out to the collective, like, hey, you going through this? Oh, no? All right. Okay. Well, I'm going to give you tools just in case eventually you go through it. With that, I have been kind of considering doing retreats and things like that. And from doing that, I still was focused on everything else. I'm applying for jobs. Because I also was like, okay, baby, if you want to continue to do all these things, you need a little extra more income, baby, and part-time here, whatever, like just throwing myself into any opportunity that might be that can create something different than I've already been experiencing. Because that's something I'm not going to do. That's something we're not going to do. Let me get right. And so as I sat there, like contemplating, are you a viewer or a doer? I literally was like kind of just looking at my own habits. As I sit here watching her, I could be doing my own podcast. As I sit here watching her, I could be that much invested in who I am. Like I should be trust, like the way I trust the confirmations from the podcast, I need to trust the confirmations that just come to me naturally because that's my intuition. And a lot of times it's like, I'll be going through the things 2 weeks before or a week before, and then I'll get on a pod, or of course the algorithm will pop up something similar to like after I went through the phase, then it's like, oh, did you know? And I'm like, hold on. So you saying, so it's confirmation. And then at that time I accept it as confirmation, but there's no motherfucking platform, podcast or anything that can give you the confirmation of just trusting yourself. And I realized it's because I didn't want to trust myself in the season I'm in. And I already moved past that. I've been learning to trust myself. I've been taking the action to move past the habits I had. I've been showing up for myself and working on the podcast, but I could be doing more. And it just kind of showed me where my energy was being placed and my focus and my attention. And I wasn't saying wow at me that day. And I wasn't saying wow. So I unpacked it in a journal, which ended up being a blog post. And I took a cold ass shower because right now I think that the biggest thing that we need to do is find something that genuinely you can do in the physical to regulate you, to kind of bring you back to center so that you can kind of adjust and do what you need to do. Because I realize that with the intensity of stress that the world is under, with so many things every day being popped up in our face about politics, about the actual genocide that's going on, about the human trafficking that's going on literally here, maybe the violence, maybe the fact that they're literally trying to make it completely impossible for anybody to live comfortably how they desire to live, right? And even then, it's like, if you do want that life, you still got to play our game to get it. I feel like with all those things happening, and then having to just genuinely deal with your own personal self, because you are still a healing flower, baby. You're still a growing plant. You're not dead. You didn't serve your purpose yet. You're here still. And long as you get to be here, it's like every day you should be looking for that peace and joy. And I'm not saying looking for the peace and joy externally, but learning how to create it for yourself internally. That way, no matter what's going on, you know where to go for the source. And the source is never external. The source is always with you. You feel me? And the viewer and doer. So let's break those two types of, I guess we could say, characters down. The viewer. So the viewer is what a lot of us don't want to say we are, but we are. The viewer is someone that likes to sit back and observe, right? They like to sit back, and maybe when you're being a viewer, you're not technically just sitting back and just not doing shit about it, but you're taking research, you're collecting data, you're observing other people's stories so you know kind of what to do. But in being a viewer, you never actually take action with any of the knowledge that you're attaining or the things that you're observing. You're literally just obtaining it, right? And then the doer. The doer is the person or the soul that is actually giving life to things that others are observing. And when you look at it like that, it's like, if you are always in action, you don't have time to check left and check right to see what someone else is doing. You don't got time to form an opinion. You don't got form to compare. You don't have time for any of that bullshit, because you are so hyper in tune into who you are, what you're doing, and who you are, that none of that shit matters. And it really doesn't. It does not. And like, even when we're going through things, I think that we go through things and we hold them to this like high extent of like, this matters so much that we lose ourselves, and then we lower our vibration to where now like before you was on the vibration, you was almost there, but you allowed so much self-neglect to like kind of counteract all the work that you've been putting in, because you're not taking the time to saying, oh, I'm overstimulated, let me go take that shower. Oh, I'm overstimulated, let me walk around. Oh, my sacral chakra is blocked, I'm gonna shoot that motherfucker. Like, none of that. And now I'm in the phase of like, no matter what's going on, no matter what I have to face, no matter what tomorrow looks like, I'm gonna shake that sacral chakra. I'm going to believe in myself. I'm going to see through all the bullshit, persevere through the bullshit, like I said earlier, right? And we're going to show up for ourselves, because I learned from my own personal path, sitting by and letting the decisions make themselves for you fucking sucks. And you really don't like the consequences, because then you really have to sit with not only the consequences, but the fact that you didn't even try. You didn't do anything for yourself because you didn't love yourself and you didn't trust yourself enough to just do it. And the story or a confirmation that came to me in physical, which I genuinely love, like I love when God makes me interact with people and I learn something from their experience. And so to close out the whole podcast episode, because we did it, I met a young lady. I had caught a Lyft ride and I was going to the dispensary. I said, baby, you need to relax. Everything's going fast, you need to relax. And I catch a Lyft. I forgot what I was doing, but ended up catching a Lyft. And I was headed there. And as I'm riding there, I love to talk to whoever I'm around. And so she's just kind of telling me about herself. I learned to not share so much, learn to be a listener. And so I sit back and I'm like, oh, tell me about you. Like, I see this. And she's like, girl, I'm a business owner and I own a pop-up drink station. Like basically all the infused drinks, or not infused drinks, sorry, all the alcohol drinks and stuff like that, the cute little beverages and stuff that we like to get when we're downtown, right? She has a whole little food truck, but for drinks, for cocktails. And she started out as like a little bar. Like she said, she made her own little bar station, and then it evolved into right now she's working on a food truck. And she let me know that literally she had just quit her job, and she had already been working towards like little by little by little. And this is literally what she told me. She said, little by little, I just kept buying little things, Amazon, this, and this. And then I literally got up to the point where my family and we all came together, and I was like, I'm really ready to just do what I can with this. I really feel like we can really make something of this. And she decided to leave her job, and she was going to lift and do like side hustles, right? And so she was able to get her truck, which was going to take 30 days. I literally listen to people. I'm sorry. I'm telling y'all all the tea. But as I'm sitting there, I'm like, damn, really? And she's telling me all the things that she got on the truck, and she's telling me how she did it. And she's telling me from a place of like, she's 40, so she been through life. Her babies is grown. She had grown sons. And so when women talk like that from that space, I have so much like love and aspiration and just like, damn, girl, I'm here. I'm back here being your cheerleader, because that's where I want to be. Maybe not in your shoes, but that's where I want to be. Being able to just fuck what you talking about, fuck what you think. I got real money. Okay, I'm sorry. Come back. But basically, she kind of tells me about the truck, and as like we're ending the ride or whatever, she's telling me like, yeah, girl, like just whatever you gotta do it. Like never, if you don't do nothing else. And she said, this is something I had to learn a long time ago. The more time you spend not doing what you genuinely love, the more you hate life and you'll regret it. And the biggest mistake that you ever made is that you didn't even try. So just do it, and just do it. And when you're failing, just do it. And when you're up, just do it. And like just at any moment, just be very perseverant through what you are trying to pursue, because that's what's going to make life worth it. Not these motherfucking stipulations and things that they make us like desire. And what I mean by that is it doesn't even have to be a business for what you desire. If you desire family, if you desire a partner, if you desire promotions, if you desire like even just being in true love with yourself, that way your boundaries just don't fold. Okay, I'll be in a moment. I'm almost done with the podcast. Can you let them know that I'm almost done? So, like I said, you guys, persevere. Just like I'm doing right now. I'm about to go persevere these kids into obedience, because mommy was asked to do one thing. I love you guys, and stay tuned next week. We got another one next week.